Jeffers, this does not look good for us. I'm going to have to do something I have been waiting my whole career to use.
What's that?
Well, I don't want to tell you. It has to be a surprise, both to you and everyone else. You have to have a genuine look of surprise to be able to pull this off. But don't worry though, I am ready for this one. I'd like to call the defendant, Jeffers White, to the stand. So Jeffers, on the day in question, January 7th, 2021, you stormed into the Capitol building.
Well, Byron, sir, I didn't storm into anywhere. I was let in. I walked up to the people that were guarding the place. When I got to the first guy, I kind of gave him a nod. When we made it to the second guy, just kind of gave him a wink, and they just kind of let me through. It was pretty easy. By the time I got through those 2 checkpoints and made it to the Secret Service agent, he just kind of looked at me and turned and walked away. It's like they knew that I had already had permission from the president. The president gave me permission to be there.
Okay, Jeffers, you are charged with criminal trespassing, among other things, such as vandalism, destruction of government property, and so on and so forth. Your Honor, Jeffers did do all of the things that he was charged for. He is guilty of each and every one of them. Like I said, he is guilty of all of the charges that have been presented before us.
Objection. Why? Isn't that what you want, sir? Your Honor, he's doing my job for me. So right now I'm just a little bit confused because I think I should be objecting somewhere at some time, but I can't really figure out when or where. I apologize. Carry on. I don't know where this is going, but I got my ticket, so I'm riding.
And because he is guilty of those charges, we are asking that he not be sent to jail, not to prison, but that he is required to take some social classes. Classes with other people that aren't necessary like him. This is where you can object.
Objection?
On the grounds of white privilege. Well, white privilege does exist. And that is what made this man and all of the other defendants here think that they could first meet outside of the Capitol building in force and obvious malicious intent. Number 2, they thought it was okay to do so because they had been told by their president that it was okay. And they believed him. Number 3, they thought that they could storm, walk, run, climb the walls, and even traipse around the Capitol building without any fear of consequence. Number 4, they thought they would be able to do this and not have to hide their faces, except for those who wore masks to hide from COVID-19. The rest, they weren't even worried about anyone seeing them because they thought they were in the right. Number 5, they thought that they could vandalize, attempt to deface, steal, break windows, do TikTok videos, do it for the gram, and go live on their social media platforms, all while committing what some would say are treasonous acts. White privilege is a disadvantage. It gives them a sense of invulnerability that is not enjoyed by other races here in America. It is white privilege that fueled all of this. Do you remember just a few months ago in 2020? And where black people gathered in a parking lot of a nightclub during the daytime, several miles away from the Capitol building, and the National Guard was called to protect the Capitol building? Well, as you noticed, they weren't called this time. It is because my client and others like him have been spoiled. White privilege has spoiled them. They don't even know it exists. I've heard them. Look, my client is still confused. He doesn't know why he's here. White privilege is real, Your Honor. Ask any black person or half of the white community what they think will happen if a group of black people showed up at the Capitol building with the intent of entering it unlawfully. I'll tell you the answer. There is no answer. It's a trick question. Black people know that there is not a world or timeline that would accommodate such a ludicrous thought. Heck, I laugh at the fact that I am able to come up with such a crazy notion that would bring them up to the White House or to the Capitol building like that. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that there is so much white privilege in this room right now. I am a little giddy. White privilege fueled all of this. The president himself gave them permission to exercise their white privilege to the fullest. And that is what fueled all of this. So while everyone else in the world knows that you cannot and shouldn't do this, especially not here in America, white privilege allowed them to believe that as long as they thought what they were doing is right, that it was okay. And to have it backed by the president, their president, well, for them, it would have been treasonous if they didn't storm the gates. That is most likely the reason they didn't receive much resistance from law enforcement, because they were all under the same notion that the president okayed it. I will close with this. If the defendant is white, he must have been right. Yes! Got it.
Yeah.